Hello, I'm Marcel Kittel. Welcome to the Cycling Day.
The Tour de France is one of the most beautiful sporting events in the world, and with that, of course, the pinnacle, the yellow jersey, being the top prize for the best rider with the overall least time accumulated over the 3 weeks. But in 2022, who are the favorites to win that jersey? Plenty of riders have shown glimpses of what they could do at the Tour de France. Geraint Thomas, for instance, did well to win the Tour de Suisse, but unfortunately, I'm not going to include him here on the list. And if he won, he would actually challenge the oldest rider's time as well. Don't forget, before we start, to subscribe to the channel and comment down below who your top 5 favorites are for this race. First on our list is Alexander Blazov, who made the switch from Astana to Bora Hansgrohe over the transfer season. And since then, the Russian star seems to have grown confidence following also his impressive 4th place at last year's Giro d'Italia. In 2022, Blazov has already won the Tour of Valencia and won the Tour de Romandie. He also finished 3rd in the Tour of the Basque Country, plus he won a stage in the Tour de Suisse before he had to abandon, unfortunately. Blazov may be a debutant, but he could definitely do a solid ride. I think the biggest weakness for Blazov is potentially that Sam Bennett is also on the start list, so he may not have full control of the team, but certainly is a solid rider and will be interesting to follow in this year's Tour de France. Next on our list is another debutant and an Ineos Grenadiers superstar in the making from Colombia, Daniel Martinez. Maybe he won't be the leader. We're not really sure about the situation on the team, but with Egan Bernal's crash earlier in the year, Martinez has definitely stepped up, managing to podium in Paris-Nice and finishing 2nd only to Primoz Roglic on the Col de Torini. He even did the GP d'Annan as well in preparation and managed to finish in the top 30. And the Colombian sensation also went on to win the Tour of the Basque Country as well as a stage win on stage 4 and finishing 2nd on stage 5. His latest accomplishment was 8th overall at the Tour de Suisse, helping Geraint Thomas become the first ever Brit to win the race. However, I think the experience he gained from finishing 5th last year at the Giro d'Italia, whilst still helping Egan Bernal to the victory, plus his improved time trial performances really do show that he could potentially be a very complete package for the team and challenge potentially in the top. But we also know that they are bringing Adam Yates and Geraint Thomas, so potentially Ineos could have a 3-pronged attack, but we'll have to wait and see. Next on our list is, of course, one of my favorite riders right now, Jonas Vingegaard, the runner-up of last year's Tour de France. He went absolutely from strength to strength following his performance on the Anglo Route, working for Primoz Roglic in 2020. And yeah, the Dane has won the Coppi Bartali since then. He won the Drome Classic this year and was the closest challenge in Tirreno Adriatico to Tadej Pogacar. And incidentally, last year, we all know now that he made his name coming in as a helper for Primoz Roglic in his first ever Tour de France, and then managing to be the biggest challenger to Tadej Pogacar, which I thought was absolutely sensational. He's an incredible rider. It starts in Denmark, so he is going to be somehow shared leadership with Primoz Roglic, so we'll have to wait and see. He can climb well, he can do well in the punchy stages, and he's a formidable time trialist as well. So another all-round rider, complete rider if you will, for a GC challenge, and we'll have to wait and see what happens on the road. Coming in at number 2, Primoz Roglic. Primoz Roglic has had a yellow mission this year, winning the overall in both Paris-Nice and the Criterium du Dauphiné, 2 races he incidentally also crashed out of before. And he's hoping to replicate the achievement of one Bradley Wiggins in 2012 by going on to win the Tour de France as well overall. He has a formidable team behind him. We know now that maybe he will be sharing the leadership somewhat with Jonas Vingegaard, but we'll have to wait and see if that comes true. And in the past, of course, he's even been able to match or even surpass Tadej Pogacar on climbs when he doesn't crash. So it definitely could be a very interesting Tour de France for Primoz Roglic, and many people think this is the best opportunity and potentially last opportunity for the former ski jumper to actually take the win. So that is going to be very interesting. But of course, the big elephant in the room is that Wout van Aert, who's been on the same kind of mission as him, has managed to win the green jersey in the Paris-Nice and Criterium du Dauphiné and has expressed interest about doing so as well in the the Tour de France. However, we do know he's picked up an injury since then, so that could potentially hamper his plan for that. But Primoz Roglic, definitely one rider to look out for, with his second place finish in 2020 being so iconic as well. Coming in at number 1, Tadej Pogacar. Unsurprisingly, the man who boasts a 100% winning record at this race is our number 1. And of course, he's also got a 3 jersey average at every Tour de France he's been at. Tadej Pogacar has had a formidable year by his standards, recently defending his Tour of Slovenia title with supreme dominance and winning 2 stages along the way. But before that, he managed to win the overall at the UAE Tour once again, and then he followed that up by defending his Tirreno Adriatico title, even winning Strade Bianche as well this year with a very strong performance, before he went on to do absolutely sensational at the Tour of Flanders, being able to match Mathieu van der Poel on the cobbles and only lost out in the final sprint, being boxed in. He has someone avoided, or has Primoz Roglic avoided him? That is the big question. We haven't really seen the two go toe to toe, so that is something we're going to have to witness on the roads of France. But he definitely is the younger, stronger, more all-round, and also his UAE team Emirates team have also been fortified with the addition of Marc Soler, a former top 10 finisher in the Grand Tour, and as well George Bennett, the Kiwi rider coming in from Jumbo-Visma. So climbing wise, his team looks a lot stronger than it has been, and well, UAE look like they're going to be taking up the front of the race a lot more than we've seen them before. So is this a stronger Tadej Pogacar? Well, we've discussed that on the channel before. It seems like he is far more complete as a rider, more mature as well, and maybe he'll be able to achieve another crazy triple jersey feat for the 3rd time, having 9 jerseys from the Tour de France in 3 years. That would be absolutely spectacular. And of course, if he does win, it would also mean that he's one step closer to joining the 5 club of 5 wins, but he would also be the youngest winner in terms of 3 Tour de France's ever in the history of the Tour. So it all points towards Tadej Pogacar, but yeah, will he win it once again? Will he be the one in Paris to lift the yellow jersey? But with that, that's it. Make sure to comment down below who your top 5 favorites are. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, as there's much more stuff coming out on the Tour de France. And as always, check out our website, www.thecyclingdane.com. And of course, thank you for watching and have a nice day.